Yay, we finally got some rain overnight. It's only 1/4 of an inch, but hey, I'll take it. All right, now that we finally got our shop cleared out, we're gonna go pick up the next project to get in there. Our cotton picker's ready to pick up, and we got a pretty lengthy list of things to do to it. All right, we got over here and we brought the service truck because when I was bringing it over here, I think we got down to our last bar of fuel, and as much as this thing drinks, I have my doubts if it will make it back, so I definitely don't want to run out of fuel here on 45 in Jackson, and want to ease it back to the house and try to get a plan of attack going on this thing. All right, we got it fueled up. Now I'm going to try to make my way out here on 45. Next couple miles ain't gonna be very much fun. Ain't gonna be too much fun for the folks behind me too. The only way they gonna get around me is getting that turning lane. All right, we finally got our picker in here. Still hadn't done any work on it. We've been working on, finishing up some other projects. Andy found out that my fenders had broken loose from all that vibrating. We got new tires. We got our new pin in for the loader here. Got it in, and then found out that our hydraulic lift cylinder, it blew a seal, so we got it off, got over in Friendship, getting it resealed. Our forklift battery here, it ain't keeping the battery charged. We checked the alternator, it's charging up, so I think maybe I got a bad battery here. We'll check it out. All right, battery tester I use is this Solar. It's a digital battery tester, and what I found is normally you do load testing on a battery, find out if it's bad, but these digital testers I found out are even better than load testing. They will find a bad battery more likely than what a load tester will. And you can pick these up for like, I don't know, 50 bucks on Amazon, but it's definitely helped us out in diagnosing battery electrical issues. All right, this one's got a 550 cold cranking amp, so you'll make sure your battery's charged first before you use this. All right, showing 13.75 volts. Or 650 cranking amp, so we'll adjust it. All right, and then test it. Yeah, it's got 283 cranking amps when it's supposed to have 650. It fails, so it's still starting, but it's definitely low on juice, not holding much juice. So I reckon Andy goes to lunch, have him pick me up a new battery, and maybe we'll have to quit jumping this thing off all the time. All right, we just got back from lunch, and we were starting to run short of storage containers out here on the bench, so I took it upon myself to polish off this gallon of cookies and cream so we could have more storage containers down here. I tell you what, the things I do for my farm is just extraordinary. So anyway, time to quit procrastinating. This time to get started on Big Bertha here. Basically going to kind of divide this picker into two parts, behind the cab and then in front of the cab, the heads and stuff. So I'm gonna pretty much put Andy in charge of doing the things we got to do behind the cab here. First thing going to get started with, if you remember back from last fall, we had some overheating issues when the thing was idling. When it's running wide open under load, no problems with overheating. So I think we got thermostat issues or water pump issues. Most likely thermostat issues. This thing's got 3 different thermostats in there, so I'm gonna have Andy start out by replacing the thermostats, the water pump, and then I've also heard these radiator hoses, they tend to go bad on these pickers too, so we're going to replace the lower and the upper radiator hose just to make sure all of that is good to go. And that should solve our overheating problems, I hope. And then what I'm going to get started on, because I'm probably going to have to order some more, I'm going to get started going through all of these spindles here. On this picker there are 3,360 individual spindles, and I'm going to go through and inspect every single one of them, and the ones that are wore, we're going to replace them. We do have some left over from our old picker when I went through it last time, but I doubt it's going to be enough to do this picker, so we're going to put the ones in we got and inspect all the rest of them, and so I can get some more order from Delta Spindle and get them up here, so we're not waiting around on that.
All right, so while Matt is doing all that, I am back underneath the picker over here, and we get to tackle the water pump job. We're gonna take the water pump completely off and replace it, and I believe, if we're not mistaken, there are 3 thermostats right here. So I'm gonna pull this cover off, and hopefully all 3 of them are like stacked on top of each other here. If not, we're gonna do some hunting around and try to find it. But first, I've got all my clamps off already, and I've got to pull that bottom radiator hose off and see if we can't finish draining all the antifreeze out, or all the water out. Well, there was definitely more than I intended on, so we kind of flooded the shop. We caught about 76% of it in the buckets, but now it is all drained out, so we're gonna try and pull the water pump off now. Yeah, we made a mess. That does make for a great ice hockey rink.
All right, just drug all my new spindles out, and we got significantly more in here than what I thought. So maybe this will be enough to get done. I kind of doubt it, but we'll get started and find out. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is pop all these slip clutches off. And what that allows me to do is I can rotate all these units by hand.
I don't know if some of y'all know this, you may already know it, but 99% of screwdrivers have like a socket or something on it, and I am actually in need of it right now because my hands are covered in antifreeze, and there's a bolt way back in the back that is a flathead. So I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. You can put a wrench on the screwdriver, and just like that, makes it a little easier. I don't know, maybe I saved somebody a little bit of time today. Alright, moment of truth to see if there are 3 thermostats or just 1. Got it pulled off, and this is a lot harder than I was expecting it to be. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Don't lose all the hose clamps. Alright, so this is that cover, and each of these are thermostats. I'm not sure why this one is like black, but we know for sure that one of them is bad, and this was a pain to get off. So while it's off, we're gonna change the gasket and the 3 thermostats. Fairly good, really. Definitely need a new seal. got clean coolant coming out. Yeah, definitely need to clean that up, but it looks decent in there. Still haven't gotten this water pump off. I was hoping when I took the cap off I could access that back bolt a little easier. It is that one right there, and yeah, it's still gonna be a pain, but I may be able to get to it a little bit easier now.
All right, now take these spindles out. We got a nice long spindle socket here, and these things are reverse threads, so to take them out, you got to turn them clockwise. Now these spindles right here, you see the spindle and then the spindle nut. You know, if I really want to save money, I could get over there on the press and press each of these old spindles out and press a new spindle in. But these spindle nuts have got 2 bushings in them plus the dust cap, and you know, over time, you know, those bushings do wear. Generally the bushings will last longer than what a brand new spindle will, but I don't think it'll last long enough for 2 spindles worth. So while I could save some money by just putting brand new naked spindles in, at some point in the next life cycle before the next spindle gets wore out, I probably have to take the spindle nut out and rebuild it with new bushings, and that's a very labor intensive process. You got to press each of these bushings out separately, press each of them in there, then run a bore through there to size the bushings, and then press your new spindle with new dust collar in there. And like I said, that's a very labor intensive process. And I spent a whole lot of hours of my childhood over there on that Drake Arbor press rebuilding spindle nuts and everything. You know, I think a new spindle is somewhere on $3.50 to $4, but I can get this whole refurbished spindle nut with a new spindle in there that Delta Spindle did for, I don't know, I can't remember what they are, like $7, $8 a piece. So it costs a little bit more money, but when you count the amount, you know, what your labor's worth on refurbishing the spindle nut, you know, you actually come out money ahead. So we'll just take our old spindle, throw them in a bucket, and when Delta Spindle comes back out here to bring my Dolphers out, we'll give them our old spindle nuts, and they'll take them back to their shop and refurbish them all. They got the machines to do it a whole lot quicker than what I can do it on the spindle press. Like I said, Delta Spindle, they come out earlier this summer. They took all 6 of my front Dolphers out and took them back to the shop to grind them down, get a nice square edge on the Dolphers, because they were starting to get a little rounded, and when Dolphers start getting rounded, they don't knock the cotton off the spindle near as well, and it just gets worse and worse until you start wrapping spindles up, and then you got a pretty big mess. And I didn't think the Dolphers I had would be able to make it the picking season without that happening. So just for preventative maintenance, they took them off and grinded them nice and square. And then I also got some other stuff ordered from them. We got some new rear doors and everything ordered that they're going to bring out here, and that's one reason I was wanting to go ahead and get these spindles, get this part done, so if I need some more you know, refurbished spindle nuts and new spindles, they can bring them out here at the same time. It's important when you're putting these back in, you want to make sure that the gear on the spindle engages with the drive gear on the bar before you tighten them up good. And then make sure you got some wiggle in and out on the spindle whenever you're done, because if it's too tight in there, it's just going to accelerate the wear.
Well, I skipped the good part, but there's the water pump. It's in my hands. It's not on the cotton picker. That's what we needed to do. Let's look in here, make sure there's not just a lot of wear on the teeth or anything. Well, the teeth look good. There's a little bit of grit on the edge. I don't know if y'all can see that through the camera or not. Anyway, the water pump and thermostats are off. Now time to clean it up and put it back together. Got our thermostats in the vise here, and try and clean this up a little bit, get all the old gasket off and go from there. We're gonna leave the thermostats in there until our new ones come in, and we don't forget which one goes where. So I believe they all just screw out with a special tool, just like that. Yeah, so
All right, we made it a little after 5 o'clock. I don't know about you, I'm tired of leaking water.
I'm soaked. I'm melting and I'm soaked.
It is. We're in the shade, we got the fan on. It's still hot and humid, but anyway, we made pretty good progress for half a day today. And you got all the thermostats out. We'll go pick them up in the morning along with the water pump and everything. If you're curious, that's what the water pump on this John Deere engine looks like. That's the biggest dang water pump I've ever seen. And it looked like it was fine, but like I said, we don't exactly know what the problem was, so we're gonna replace it all. That way we ain't gotta worry about it. I gone through one unit on all the spindles. That's what was bad on one drum. Actually, all those came out of the front drum. The rear drum, this is the unit that went to Delta Spindle last year because the back drum was locked up, and I know they replaced a bunch of stuff. I'm thinking they probably replaced all the spindles because gears on them was galled up, so didn't have to replace any spindles on the back one, but I'm assuming the next 5 we're probably going to have to replace some ones on the rear too. So made decent progress on that. We'll continue on it in the morning. I'm ready for cold beer now.
It's about time for one.
I think it's about beer o'clock.
Beer 30.
All right, guys, I just want to cut in here real quickly, just let y'all know about the Farm Progress Show coming up next week. Kelly and I will be heading up there. We will be there for one day only. I believe it's Wednesday, August 28th. We will be up there. We really don't have anything official going on. I think Kelly might be on one panel, but we don't have any official obligations up there. But we enjoyed it last year. We're going to try and get up there again this year. So if you happen to see us floating around the show, don't be scared. Come up, shake your hand, say hi. Also, y'all don't forget about our online merchandise store. You want a hat? I got a brand new hat on right here. Won't be brand new for very long. Shirt, not an Acres TV shirt, but a Griggs Farm shirt, coffee mug, license plate, decal, tumbler, water bottle, Lord knows what else. Y'all be sure to go to www.farmmerchbin.com. You know, we're on there, several others on there, the Crop Critic, Dylan Joyce Farms, Thomas Farms TN, Chronicles of Kayla. Several of us got our merchandise on there. Not only will you be helping us out, you'll also be helping out another local family-run farm business who does all our merchandising for them. So, like I said, if y'all interested in getting some of our gear, be sure to go to www.farmmerchbin.com. Appreciate it.
Alright, so yesterday we were pulling off the water pump and thermostats, and today I just got this wire wheel and just cleaned up around it until it's all nice and shiny now. I put the bolts back in so I don't lose them. But while we're waiting on the gaskets and stuff and the thermostats, they had also told us we have a idler pulley that is going out or has already gone bad, and didn't tell us which one exactly. So I'm back here by this fan, and this one here, which I've already taken it loose, had a little bit of play in it. So we're gonna go ahead and replace it, and there's one more There's one more right there that I can't reach to tell if it's going bad or not, but as soon as I get this one off, we're gonna at least check the rest of them and head to Tennessee Tractor to pick up all the rest of our cool pieces to finish the puzzle. So yeah, I'm just pulling idler pulleys off. The water pump is all clean, waiting on some gaskets. Matt's still on number like 600 and something spindle. That's a long and tedious job, but hey, we're making way. Alright, I don't know if you can see it, but that shiny piece is our new idler. Everything is put on, bolted up, and put back together and ready to idle and do its thing. And now we're back on this side of the picker. Where we left off is we cleaned all those up, cleaned both of the replacements. Here's our old water pump. I think y'all saw it yesterday, and here's our new water pump and new radiator hoses. And this is the same little thermostat housing and 3 new thermostats. Almost everything is going back on there brand new except for this housing. So the first thing would be to swap the radiator hoses, and yeah, you can't see it at all, but there's a clip up there, hose clamp, and this one is already off. I just got one more hose clamp, and then the 2 new radiator hoses can go on there. And on this radiator hose, you cannot, as you can tell, I mean, there's no way you're gonna put a ratchet or even a finger on the clamp because it's way up there at the top of the radiator. So you come around here, and you should probably remove this little air box, but I feel like my hands are small enough. There's a little bitty door right here. You take it out with a little 10mm bolt. Right there's our hose clamp for the upper radiator hose. Alright, so once you undo that hose clamp, you should be able to just twist and pull and twist and pull, and sooner or later it'll just come out. Alright, so our bottom hose is on. It's got its clamp on, not connected to anything. This one is too. Both hose clamps on the radiator are tight. So now we are ready to go back with our water pump, and I'm gonna try my hardest to get this back bolt that I was talking about earlier started first. And I don't really know how I'm gonna do that, but also if you have somewhere to be in like 30 minutes, I don't suggest changing the radiator hoses on a 7760, even though it is only 4 hose clamps and a couple pulls. That upper one was an absolute nightmare. Anyway, let's put this water pump on. Alright, well, I got our water pump on. The back bolt, this bolt, and that bolt are all tight. Put our first hose clamp on, and this hose clamp is on. I just got to tighten them up. Other than that, the water pump is on, and I'm lacking to put the thermostats on and the new gasket. However, I think I hear that we have company out here, so let's go see who's here.